So here we are. This is the Phono Signature, and this is the Cyrus IR7 remote. The buttons we're going to be using are these numbered buttons down here. So in order to switch inputs, you can do this remotely. So if I just hit the one button, you can see it's got the input settings, and I can scroll through those. I'm going to stick with input 1 for the moment, assuming that I've just got the one turntable connected. So it's selected 1. Now with the button 2, I can take the warp filter on and off. So the warp filter you put on when you've got a record that's warped. It takes out those very low frequencies which can distort the music that's playing. Button number, I'll take that back off. Button number 3 switches between moving coil and moving magnet. Again, I'm going to leave this on moving coil for the moment because that's where all the fun is and where all the settings are. So input number 4 enables me to switch the gain. So I can be sitting listening to my vinyl and then just, so 40 dB is the lowest. There are 4 settings here. It goes all the way up to 70. But I can change this, let's say, to 60 dB. And if there was a record playing through here, which unfortunately, because we're broadcasting on YouTube, I can't play you any music or we'd be immediately kicked out for rights reasons. But you can see there's a couple of little indicators here. That's actually a level meter. So when the music's playing, there'll be a couple of little meters here which will go up to this line, which is the sort of clipping line. So the idea is to set the gain so that the meters just keep touching the top of that line. Now you'll also notice that the light above the gain button here has gone from green to orange. That means that I've set it to a different setting to the settings that are stored. And again, as I'll go through this, I'll show you how you can then store those settings. So let's say I'm happy with my gain of 60 dB. I then move on to the resistance settings. So that's the remote control button number 5. And there are 10 different resistance settings here, going all the way from 11 ohms right up to 47 kilo ohms. That's 47,000. So I can scroll through a few of these and you can see them. So let's set this one to, let's say 333, because I've been listening and I think, oh yeah, that kind of suits this record. So I hit OK. And again, the light's gone orange because that's different from the settings that are stored. And then I've got my capacitance settings, which is one of the more subtle changes I find when listening to moving coil cartridges. There are 4 different settings here. So there's 220 picofarads, and then it goes up to 1 nanofarad, 2 nano and 3 nanofarads. So I'm going to set this for, let's say, 3 nanofarads. So you'll then see that all 3 of those lights now have gone orange because I've sat here, I've listened to my album, I've decided these are the settings I like, but they're not the ones that are currently stored in memory. So to do that, I simply hit button number 7 and it says, do I want to save these settings? I go, yeah, I actually really like the way this is sounding. I hit yes, it saves that profile and all the buttons have now gone green. So that's gain 60 dB, 333 ohms and 3 nanofarads on input 1. So if I go to switch inputs, as I did earlier on, and you'll see that on input 2 I've got a whole different set of settings, and that's actually switched to moving magnet on that one. So let's move back, let's move on to moving coil anyway. And you'll see those lights are green because those settings are stored in input 2 of gain, capacitance and resistance. So if I now go back to input 1, you'll see that all of those will change. So again, it's reconfigured all of those all at once. I'm now listening to the settings that I previously set. So that's kind of the main revelation that we built in when we were trying to design this phone, because previously you'd have had to go all the way to the back, flick, and reached over and flicked a few switches, and then come back and sat down, and it would have taken forever. So really, really simple, really easy way of fine-tuning your records as you're listening to them.